Gosh, you look like crap today. Like, damn, did you even try? Holy bagoli, dude. Just go home and reset yourself. Please and thank you. Actually, you look pretty amazing. Quite dashing, in fact. You could probably look good without even trying, because you're a pretty beautiful human, I'd say. Sorry I lied to you. Welcome back. This video is kind of about self-image, comparing yourself to others' judgments, and self-improvement and such like that. So if you're interested in learning more about how you see yourself, or how I see myself, or how you should see yourself, maybe this is the video for you, or you're just curious of what I have to say, feel free to hang out. So throughout my life, just probably like everyone else, I've gone through these ebbs and flows of caring about how I look, caring about how others see me, caring about how I look in the mirror at any given moment. I'm starting to care less and less as time goes on. As you might know, with my hair, I'm thinning out a little bit, and I have to worry about that a little bit more. I've been trying to treat it, but it doesn't really work, but that's okay. And there's a lot of stuff I could look into about it, but it's all right. You know, it's not too big of a deal. And I do try to improve the way I look. From time to time, I care a little bit. So I'll start off by saying that I'm not flawless. You know, I still have work I need to do. And so what I'm about to say might be seen as hypocritical, but I do try my best. I want to try my best at any given moment to help myself become a better person. And it's not about becoming better than anyone else. I'm not harping you saying that, wow, you judge everybody, you care too much about your self-image. If that's part of who you are, I hope that you can improve. I'm not going to say that you're a terrible person or something like that because of that. We all have our work to do, and maybe you don't think it's work to do. Whatever works best for you, I don't care. The logic of self-image and the fact that what you look like could matter in any way is so interesting. I mean, you could boil it down to, like, evolutionarily, yes, like if you do look quote unquote better, you might be looking healthier, so you might be more selectable as a person to be in a family with or something like that. And that type of thing is true down to a biological standard, but in the way that we operate as a society right now, that's become less and less important, like biological standards. The reality is that social media and social situations put you in a belief system that like image really, really matters. And who knows, like if I look just a little bit worse or a little bit better, maybe this video would do differently. It would do better or do worse. Who knows if that's the case. And people unfortunately do care a lot about the way people look in a lot of ways, and social media cares, Hollywood cares, all the big ticket companies care because they want the best image in front of their audience so that they get the most clicks and the most attention. It is unfortunate that that can be the case in mainstream society, capitalism, and media. As far as your own personal little bubble, it does not have to matter at all. The logic of self-image in your own personal world, in your own personal little bubble of how you live your life, you don't have to worry about any of that. And it's true and real that you do not have to worry about any of that. I can just say that, and it's very simple to say, but the practice of not caring about it is very hard to do sometimes. Self-image can be just about you weighing too much or weighing too little. It can be about having enough hair or having too much hair, I don't know. Or you just can't grow the right parts of your facial hair. Maybe you're worried about the way your clothes look and the right combination of colors. Maybe you're worried about your nails, your eyelashes. Maybe you're worried about your ears. Maybe you're worried about like the way that you look in a certain light and you need a certain filter to help you look better. I don't know what it is. There's a lot of interesting things that people come up that get they concern about their own self-image, and a lot of it is just so on the surface it doesn't matter at all. A lot of people will put so much work into making sure their image is so much better and they'll get nothing out of it. And I'm talking about like actual sum of stuff you'll get out of it. Maybe you'll feel a little bit better, but that feeling of feeling better because of the way you look means that you do have a sort of a problem that you can't be comfortable around other people by looking the way you would effortlessly try to look without putting in a bunch of extra effort. And this is a very touchy subject for a lot of people, and I know that like me just bringing it up is to cast like negativity on you for trying to look better, and I don't mean to do that. If you feel like you need to do these types of things to look better and feel better, that's all you. That sounds fantastic. Do what you have to do to feel better. I do like to point out though that it might sound mean, I don't know, is that logically in your own little bubble, in your own world, none of that is going to change anything in the long run about your own life. In the short term, if you do practice not caring about how people see you, you're going to be a lot happier. You're going to be a ton happier. I mean, maybe you can still try and look quote unquote better once in a while, but When you're at home or when you go out quick to the grocery store, you do not have to put on your absolute best face and presentation. It does not matter. No one's going to look at you and see you and be like, wow, that person looks like crap. Did they even try? No one's going to do that. Almost no one is going to think twice about the way you look and your own little bubble in your own little world. No one gives a crap. And so the logic of the self-image that people have and the self-consciousness that people have really falls short to the reality. People don't really have a lot of true and real effects of having a bad appearance. It is an unfortunate thing that a lot of people are pretty facetious, they're pretty shallow, and they're pretty judgmental on people's image. But if you practice not caring about those people, if you practice the logic of that not really mattering, what really matters is the way you see yourself. What really matters is what you do with your life. What really matters is that how you feel day to day. It's not anything related to what other people think. The bubble of your own little world, it does not need any other people entering it. It does not need anybody else to comment on the way you look or how you act. It's a whole big topic to talk about, is people judging you in general and you judging others as well. I mean, just think about the way you are. The average person, the majority of people are good people that actually don't care. And if they do care, it's only because of health-wise. If someone who's a good person looks at someone on the street or someone in their bubble and they say, wow, you are super, super skinny. I'm really sorry that you're skinny. What can we do to improve it? Because you're gonna lose years off your life if you remain that skinny. And the same thing about being larger and having more fat and, being quote unquote obese. Those types of terms exist because they're health terms, and that you should try to take actions to prevent those types of things because they can take years off your life. That's just the reality. That's just the truth. I'm not critiquing you for being a certain weight or a certain size. I don't give a crap. I would never judge anybody, no matter how big they are. I've never even thought that once in my life, that they're a lesser person because of that type of thing. I do, of course, my health thoughts come into mind where it's like, oh, okay, you should probably take actions to become a little healthier of a person, because I do care about my fellow humans and want them to live a little bit longer. I'm sorry about that. So the logic of self-image, to sum that kind of point up, is only about health. And I don't know how to teach you to practice not caring about other people. It's sort of just a step-by-step process every single day of doing one little thing differently, caring one little bit less each day, and trying your absolute best to change the way you operate and the way you think about yourself and other people. Looking at yourself in the mirror helps a lot. I know that people sometimes avoid that. I've never had an issue with that, and maybe that's me being out of the loop on this, and maybe I don't have a leg to stand on when it comes to this. As many issues as I've had with my appearance, I've never had trouble looking at the way I look in the mirror and saying, well, I could probably improve this in some way. And I don't judge myself too much. I don't treat myself too harshly, but I do like to take effort to improve. And I'm the type of person that I have admitted to myself sometimes that words of affirmation are kind of in my love language. So maybe I care a little bit more than I'd like to about the way people think. I've been good about not letting people's lack of compliments or critiques get to me. I've laughed it off. People have made comments to me before about my appearance and online and otherwise, and it can be a little bit tough to deal with on the surface, but as long as you take a little moment to breathe and look inward, you realize that you don't see yourself in that way, so there's no reason why someone else should impose their image of you and destroy your own self-image. And I'm already getting a little bit carried away with that type of thing. I just really would love a way to practice not caring, and the practice of understanding the logic that caring of what other people think just does not matter. It's really hard to practice to get out of that. I think self-appreciation and self-gratitude can help that, because it really helps build your own self-confidence. I know that there are some practices out there that you could research about, appreciating certain things. One of the things I've been taught is to find time in the day, maybe set an alarm, and just talk to yourself about 5 things you appreciate about yourself. Talk to yourself about 5 things you appreciate about your own life, and talk to yourself about 5 things you appreciate about other people. And doing a practice like that on a recurring basis can build a habit of you actually really loving yourself, where you are, and loving other people, because it's really just a practice of confidence. It's a practice of habit of having the most positive thoughts and having those be the dominant part of your daily routine, rather than the negative thoughts that cause you to second guess yourself, that cause you to have a loss in self-consciousness, and have these types of things happen to you over time. And it really is a practice of association, because if you go through your whole day and you associate things with the way you look, you associate other people with the way they see you, it really just is a practice of you unintentionally creating a routine around the way people think of you. And so if you actually make specific steps to associate the world in a way that's positive, then you can actually create a more positive and grateful life and appreciative life. It's kind of it's interesting how that works, because associations are one of the strongest things in our brain. Anything we particularly do associates to something else most of the time. And that actually is an argument for free will that I've been hearing a lot lately. Like, you don't actually have free will, you only have wants and needs, and these wants and needs dictate your life. And I feel like your wants and needs are also built up with associations with the way you live your life. And you can actually make conscious choices. I think that's free will, to adjust the way that you habitually live your life, because those habits end up being your whole life. And that's part of self-improvement in a lot of ways. The reality about you and the reality about how you can self-improve and knowing when that's necessary is it's very important, because the reality is often different than what you actually see the world as. Your confidence is going to boost your self-image, and your self-assurance is going to obviously make your life feel a little bit better. And seeing the truth behind the veil of what you understand the world to be can really help, because these people and their opinions, they mean nothing, and they don't have to mean anything. The way you see the world is entirely up to you. No one can actually literally impose a thought onto you. You have to develop that thought on your own. And they can certainly yell at you and try and insult you and try and disgrace you, but you can make sure that your armor is very thick and that you can actually put your own thoughts ahead of theirs and make sure that you're actually actively choosing how you think. And that's very necessary sometimes, to make sure that you're not letting people impose thoughts on you and making sure they can't hurt your self-image. Your actual self-improvement and knowing when that's necessary is all entirely based on stuff that's related to your own life and your own health. If you really wanted to change something about you, it has to be just about your own self, and it has to be just about your own little bubble. It can't be around other people and what they think. If you want to make an improvement, such as losing weight or something like that, because that's obviously a big topic for people, it has to be about your own choices, and it has to be about your own motivations. It has to be about your own disciplined actions. Because if you're worrying about other people, your motivation is so incredibly tarnished. You need to be about self-improvement, and you need to be about health. Those motivations are true and pure, and they help your own life become better. And plus, those motivations don't really last either. And I've talked about motivation and discipline a little bit as well. You can check out that video if you like. A motivation such as worrying about what other people think is such a motivational thing. It's not a disciplined thing at all. It can get you into the gym, but it's never going to keep you there. And if it does keep you there, that's terrible. That means your life is a circulation of bad thoughts. If your motivation is negativity into getting the gym, that is not going to breed happiness at all. I mean, your motivation needs to be something positive. It needs to be something that's going to make you feel good about your choices. Your motivation has to be about self-improvement. That's a very pure and real way to motivate yourself, not something that's outside of you. And self-improvement, you can sort of isolate that term too. What does it mean to improve, and why should you have to improve? There is no real improvement towards some goal unless you need to, I don't know, become fit for a TV production or something like that. And like I kind of stated, self-improvement for the world around you is never really necessary, because they all value different types of things that you can almost never achieve. Let those people become models if they want to. Let those people become the face of social media. It's fine. You can probably achieve those same types of things without having to judge yourself extremely, and just having the confidence instead. If you take the steps to improve yourself, you'll become more confident in general, and you'll become more attractive in general, because almost always confidence is more attractive than actual images are. And I feel like that's statistically true. I'm not sure where I've seen it or how I've seen it, but I know that a lot of people have talked about that online, that you can probably research, and it's worth, like I said, always researching my opinions and finding out more about those, is that confidence is actually more attractive most of the time than actual images are. The world around you definitely builds up image as a very important thing, and it really isn't, because I mean, the way you live your life moment to moment, your image is not a factor. What you do with your life is probably the most important thing, and how you live moment to moment is the most important thing, not anything related to your self-image. Like, what you do day to day for a job is probably way more important than your image, because that's your routine, that's your life, those are your moments that matter way more than any particular image you're gonna have. And so I definitely don't think that image is as important as the world builds it up to be. And one other point I'd like to move over to is the fact that judging others in general is a lot like judging yourself. In order to judge someone, you have to have a baseline to compare to. Comparing is very dangerous in general, but judging is based on comparisons. You're comparing to some sort of baseline. For example, if you judge someone as evil, you must have some sort of standard for a good person. What's your standard for a good person? Just someone who doesn't interfere with the natural law, someone who doesn't commit crimes? What's your definition of a good person? In order for you to have a definition for evil, you must have a baseline of where that good versus evil meets in the middle. And that baseline must be, well, I'm above this, so I'm good, or I'm below this, so I'm evil. In order to judge someone as that, you must first define your baseline. And if you don't know your baseline, maybe it's good to take a second and figure out what that is, because a lot of people make judgments without actually having the logic behind those judgments. And that can dismantle your entire judging mechanism anyway. For instance, a lot of people will really get angry about certain things when their baseline is actually a lot lower than that thing that they got angry about. For instance, if you get angry about pronouns in a video game, or do you get really angry and heated about a really drunk driver running a school bus of children off of a cliff? Because I mean, one matters a little bit more, and I hope that you see that. And if your anger for the pronouns is a lot higher than the anger for the school bus, you need to redefine your baseline right now and figure out your priorities in life. Like, oh my God. And that's just one tiny little bit example that just came off my head just right away. I have no idea. I could talk about that type of stuff more, but that's just a random example. Just the idea, to bring it back to the point I'm talking about, the idea of judging yourself is to judge others, and the idea of judging your others is to judge yourself, because you have to have some sort of baseline. The baseline of judging an image comes from some sort of like, what is a good image? What is a good image to have? Is it important that I become successful as an actor to prove that I have a good self-image? Is it important that I get featured on a magazine cover to prove that I'm attractive? Is it important that I'm able to date a lot of people and that they say me well? Is that proof that I'm a good-looking person? Like, what is the baseline? Because if you don't set that baseline, you can't even understand where your judgments are coming from. And a lot of the times, you don't have a baseline. You're just making up these things as you go along based on how you generally feel about the world. And your judgments about yourself are just based on stuff that you've been indoctrinated by the world to make yourself believe. Because I don't believe that people aged from 13 to 20 set a baseline for what is attractive and what's not attractive. And yet they'll go through their teens and early adult years thinking that they're unattractive compared to what? Because it's so funny, like the idea that you could be seen as unattractive without having an accurate baseline, let alone a baseline that actually you've defined. Because guess what? There is no baseline. There is nothing. There's no logic to any of this, except for maybe, like I stated, health. But in reality, most people are generally healthy in today's society, even though there's a lot of garbage food out there and a lot of garbage habits you can get into. But in general, I would say most people know how to be healthy and they know how to look okay. And if you're looking okay, I think you're fine. And what does okay mean? Again, there's some sort of baseline. I don't know. But judging other people in general means that you have some sort of judgment about yourself. Like if you look at somebody on the street and say, wow, man, that guy really needs to go to the gym. He is skinny, he's scrawny, he doesn't feel like, I don't think he could lift a 20-foot pack of water. It's like, what are you saying about yourself? Are you saying that you're in a proper place as far as physique goes? Are you saying that you're stronger? Are you saying that you're better? The idea of judging someone means that you must be better than that judgment, right? Otherwise, it's pure hypocrisy. And maybe you are a hypocrite. I mean, obviously, I can be that sometimes too. Hypocrisy as a concept is the idea of teaching something that you don't practice. We should try to practice what we preach all the time, but sometimes it's not something that you actually do. And unfortunately, yeah, you should recognize that and try to change yourself so that you can be somebody that's setting a good example. So this is like a ladder of choices that lead you down to self-improvement. If you're judging other people, that's saying that you have some sort of trait that you're proud of. In order to judge someone, you must have a baseline. And usually the baseline that you falsely created is based on you. And if you take a step down and take a look at yourself, well, if I said that about this person, what does that say about me? Well, I could probably improve my own physique, so maybe I should go to the gym. Perfect, maybe I will. It goes from judging others to actually self-improvement based on realizing the fact that your judgments were based out of nothing and you need to actually take a better look at yourself, look inward. And instead of looking at other people, maybe if you practice that little process that I just went over, you're going to end up looking for ways to improve yourself, which can be a healthy way of judging people, but judging people in general shouldn't happen. You should instead look at yourself, try and improve your own self and your own world, and try and realize that other people are doing their own thing and they do not matter, and you should just worry about yourself and the way you look and the way you improve yourself, and it's not about being better than anyone else, of course. There are people that live their life every single day trying to be better than other people, and I don't get them. I don't understand them. There's a lot of arrogance in the world, and a lot of the times arrogance can be seen as confidence and vice versa. It is important not to be arrogant when you can, and instead be confident and self-assured when you can, and understand that you're doing the best you can. You're taking the best actions you can to become a better you, and you're not comparing yourself to others. You're instead comparing yourself maybe to the person you were before, and saying, how can I improve myself? How can I become a better version of myself? Not so that I can have a better self-image compared to other people, but so I can become a better, happier, healthy person, because those are the real goals that matter. It doesn't actually matter that you look better than somebody else, or that you have more friends than somebody else. It doesn't matter that you are more successful than somebody else. All that matters is that you're becoming a better, happier, healthier person in general, because the true purpose of life, as I might have mentioned before, is to feel good, and all these other sources of comparison only fuel negativity, and they fuel comparisons, judgments, and they fuel hypocrisy. They fuel all sorts of things that are just an endless bout of negativity that lead you nowhere but bad places. And there's lots of examples of that in the real world. I don't feel like I have to go into depth about that, because it really is operating on a daily basis. You'll see it around the world every day. If there's anything to take away from this video, is to go out and see people and the way they act, the way they make themselves appear. So many people put on faces, they put on appearances that don't represent who they truly are. They want to be seen as more attractive than the inward person that they see themselves as. And they don't operate based on real and true motives of improving their own self-image. They operate based on how they see themselves in other people's eyes, which is never true. There's never a baseline. There's never a logic behind it. There is just self-image of what you've been led to believe is important, which actually isn't important. And I don't know what else to say about it in particular. I've gone off on a lot of tangents here. I guess I could ask you a couple questions and I can make a video about it. What should you do? How do you operate each day? How can I help? What points of advice do you think that you need? It's easy for me to say in this stage of my life, because I put my face on a lot online, and I go out in public a lot, and I'm with customers a lot, and I've actively tried very hard not to care about my image. And I'll go the whole day without realizing, oh, my hair has been messed up this whole day, or this whole day this shirt has not matched my outfit at all. I don't know why I wore this shirt. And I might have those fleeting thoughts here and there, but I do my best to combat them. It really doesn't matter, as long as I'm happy and healthy and improving myself as much as I can each day. That's really the best thing to do. And I'm trying my best. I feel like the whole do or do not, there is no try thing, I love that philosophy, but I also like the idea that you are making an effort. We're all making an effort to improve ourselves in some way, I should think, and we're all trying our best to be better than we were before, I hope. And that's all that life is. Unfortunately, there is no do or do not, there is no try, because you can't always be instantaneously at your goal. It is better to take action than to think about taking action. It's way more productive and valuable to actually do things with your life than talk about them or think about them. You need to move your feet and take an action. It's better to actively do things than to try to do things, but making an attempt, I feel, is very valuable too. Chipping away at your goals instead of expecting to immediately resolve them is very realistic for sure. What type of advice do you think you'd want about this particular topic? Because it's hard to talk about this without someone to bounce ideas off of. Maybe I'll jump into a podcast one day and see if I can't debate someone about the valuableness of not being so self-conscious, because that's the essential part of this video, and most important part of this video is not worrying about your self-image and not comparing yourself to others, not judging others, but instead working on your own self-improvement and being your own bubble. I feel like that was the point of this video, and let me know if you have any questions about that, and hopefully I can talk about it more in a more productive way. But anyway, let's wrap this up here. Yeah, man, I think this was a little bit of a long video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it. But again, like, comment on this and talk to me about it if you got through the whole video. I appreciate you sticking around if you did. So yeah, these are my opinions, and you should always research and try to form your own accurately informed opinion. Always be logical, always be real, always be aware and introspective as well, and enjoy the moment right now, because that's all life is. So see ya. Gosh, you look like crap today. Gosh, you look like crap today. Damn. Gosh, you look like crap today. Dan, did you even try? Like, holy bagoli, dude, go home and reset. Please and thank you. Let's try again. Gosh, you look like crap today. Like, Dan, did you even try? Holy bagoli, dude, just go home and reset yourself. Please and thank you. Intro clip.